Everybody, welcome back to CAF's Heroes of Sport. My name is Bob Babbitt, co-founder of Challenge Athletes Foundation, and every week it's my privilege to get to interview some of the world's greatest challenge athletes. This week is no different. Her smile lights up the universe. Her name is Ryen Reed, and Ryen, as always, it's such an honor to get to chat with you.
Thank you. It's an honor to be.
What I was going to say, when I look back, and I think people, a lot of times you'll see a paragraph in a bio that says, you know, the doctors couldn't figure out what was going on, and she went through 15 surgeries. But when you get into the details of this, how long did it take before people finally figured out that you had a form of dysplasia and cerebral palsy? It seemed like you were playing softball, you were playing all sorts of sports, and they couldn't quite figure out what was going on.
Yeah, I went through so many procedures growing up, from a bunch of metal objects in my legs as I walked up and down a runway, full body cast, many surgeries, pins, needles, everything. In and out of the hospital my whole childhood growing up. I mean, the only time I had a long amount of time off school was around the holidays. So I was pretty much always in the hospital around the holidays, and it was difficult. And yeah, it was different. I never wanted to be treated any differently. So I never told myself I had a disability, despite everything I was going through, and I didn't want to be treated any differently. But looking back at it, I can't imagine, or I can't, it shocks me everything I went through and what I've accomplished.
Well, when one, you would assume, I don't think any diagnosis is simple, but they couldn't understand why it was tough for you to stand up. They couldn't understand why you're walking with a limp. They couldn't understand you're falling over.
Yeah.
At first they thought it was hip dysplasia, hip socket wasn't staying in. So hip surgery, double knee surgery, multiple Achilles tendon lengthening, bunion removals, hammer toe surgery on all 10 toes. I've had buddies who've had that hammer toe surgery. That's the most painful thing in history. And you had all 10 toes, full body cast, PT since the age of 1, all the holidays and it's the fact that you came out of this and have a smile on your face is unbelievable. When, knowing you got to a point where you couldn't do sports standing up, when did you find hand cycling and parasports?
So I didn't know, growing up, I didn't really know anybody with a disability. I didn't know parasports existed. I constantly wanted to be treated like everyone else. So I played able-bodied sports, grew up playing softball, and then the 2015 summer Special Olympics came around in LA, and my friend was volunteering. So I went out there with her, and they were advertising for the Paralympics. So I looked into it and I realized that I qualified for it. And my whole life, I always wanted to compete in the Olympics, but because of my disability, I wasn't able to. So I did a little research on the Paralympics and got so excited. And that next day I found the closest team and went from there and just chased after it. So that happened in 2015, and I've been training and chasing that dream ever since.
Well, I remember seeing you at triathlons, and when you do a triathlon, you're using a hand cycle, a racing chair, race wheels. You need a Sherpa just to get to the freaking starting line of these things. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but traveling with that equipment is a race in itself.
Big time. At that point, so in 2016 is when triathlon became a Paralympic sport. Was the thought 2020 potentially for did they even have your category?
Yeah, for 2016 they did, and then 2020 the end of 2016 I got invited to a paracycling camp up in Chula Vista. Yeah. So I went to that, and by the end of 2016 they invited me to live and train at the Olympic Training Center. So I moved halfway across the country and lived at the training center in 2017 and did that. But then I was hit by an SUV on my bike during training, and everything kind of took a turn from there for a little bit. And then I got back into it and into training, got a new coach and everything. And I did the Redlands
Yeah.
bike classic, and my coach realized how quickly I was progressing in hand cycling and wanted me to just focus on hand cycling. And now since 2019, I've been focused on hand cycling, and it's been amazing. I've been doing really well, I think, in it.
You think you just won 3 national championships up in Boise. Having the paracycling nationals in Boise, and having the time trial, the road race, the crit, mixed relay, and at the same time that's happening, you've also got this crit with the Legion of LA and Justin Corey Williams, and so it's the credibility that comes with you guys are racing on the same course is a lead in to those races. That had to be so much fun for you.
Yeah, that was actually incredible, because a lot of able-bodied people that support the regular cycling and all that, they don't really know a lot about paracycling and the hand cycles, and they see us and they're amazed. And so the one night that Legion was doing their podiums, we were up there and you were up there with us, and they took the time and introduced themselves and talked to us and took pictures, and it was absolutely incredible. They were one of the nicest teams I've ever met, and they were just so supportive. And some of them are following me on social media, and they're still so supportive, and it's incredible. It's just to have that representation. It felt really great.
So you're going to do the $1 Million Challenge coming up here in a couple of weeks, 620 miles, 7 days, 130 riders. I think there's 170 total. Some are doing like the 3-day.
Yeah.
You've done that before. How fun is that?
So I've never done it in my hand cycle. This will be my first time in my hand cycle.
What'd you do it on before?
I was on a road bike, but it was not, it hurt and I didn't do well. Yeah. That was for AIDS Life Cycle years ago.
Okay. So this time you're going to be on your hand cycle.
Yeah.
And what I love about that event is, one, it's a 5-star ride, right? You basically each day when you're done, your masseuse is waiting for you, and your bags are in your 5-star hotel room, and your mechanic's tuning up your bike for your hand cycle for the next day. But also there's the bond that develops between the able-bodied cyclists and the hand cyclists and the amputee cyclists, because again, people will realize how strong you are as you're dropping them. That must be sort of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it all. It'll be an experience for sure.
So you committed a lot of time to try to make the paracycling team for 2020. How tough was that for you when it didn't happen?
Well, I went into the race it was in Milwaukee.
Minnesota? Oh, Milwaukee.
Yeah, Minnesota. Milwaukee was right before that.
Yes.
I went into that knowing that I didn't have a big shot because of the accident that happened in 2017. It kind of pushed me back a bit, and I couldn't be too hard on myself. But because the Paralympics were pushed out a year due to COVID, I just wanted to go for it. But I told myself, I mean, I had this talk with myself and my friends and my coach, like I couldn't have such high expectations and be so hard on myself if I didn't make it. I was mainly, I'm focused on Paris and Los Angeles in the future, but I still wanted to go after Tokyo because of all the training and stuff that I was putting in. So it wasn't so hard, but at the same time, I really wanted it to happen. So, I mean, it was difficult to take a little bit, but it wasn't as hard as probably if it didn't happen with Paris or something. That would probably be harder.
Well, and as somebody who really lost sport, right? When you were younger, sport had disappeared. You wanted to be an Olympian when you were a little girl. And now all of a sudden that dream is back. That dream is, if you make it or don't make it, you're still lived at the Olympic Training Center, right? Yeah. Michael Phelps lived at the Olympic Training Center. You're the greatest athletes in the planet train at the Olympic Training Center, and you're one of them. Yeah. That has to be, making the team is great. Going to Tokyo is great, but just being part of that world and knowing that it's possible, that has to make you smile all the time.
Yeah, that's what I keep telling myself. I just keep looking back at everything that I've gone through and accomplished. And it's been an amazing road, despite some of the hard situations I've
Yeah.
been through and the struggles and everything. Despite everything, it's been an amazing road. And I'll make it someday, hopefully soon. But yeah, I'm not gonna give up.
How important has CAF been in your journey?
It's been the most incredible part of the most important part of my journey. Without CAF and without the support of the team, CAF is like a second family to me. And I think without that support, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And this would not be possible without CAF in my life.
The other thing that I love is the whole women's adaptive cycling, hand cycling team. You guys are like rock stars. You go into Milwaukee and you race there, and you go to Boise and you race there. And it's like, we're sort of like a rock band, and we're just going from city to city, bringing our talents and showing people what hand cycling is all about.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're changing perceptions, and people who have not seen hand cycling before have not seen that you guys are racing like they are, like anybody else races? You think you guys are opening some eyes as to what somebody can do on a hand cycle?
Yeah, definitely. Especially for just female in all sports together. Traveling from those races and the crits we were doing right before trials and right before nationals, it was an incredible experience. And we would sort of stick together, like we were all in the same hotel. So when we would go out to eat or something like that, people would stop us and ask us questions and ask what we're doing. And we kind of just spread the word like that. And then they see us race, or they'll follow us on social media. And it's incredible just to get that support and know that people are feeling more powerful and stuff, just seeing what we're doing.
I love it. You guys are doing great stuff. Being in Boise, it was, yeah, there's the Williams brothers, and well, by the way, there's a CAF team. There's Team CAF. Look at those guys. They're doing some great stuff. And you could tell that Justin and Corey Williams were just as excited to meet you guys as you guys were to meet them. That was pretty special.
It was incredible.
I love it. Hey, as always, Ryen, thank you so much for taking time. Thank you for everything you bring to CAF. It's a joy to have you part of our family.
Thank you guys. It's an honor to be a part of the team, honestly. And I can't wait to see everyone in a few weeks.
I love it. Ryen Reed has been our guest again, CAF's Heroes of Sport. My name is Bob Babbitt. Catch us next time. See ya.